Hey everybody, Karen Anderson with Aortic Hope's Week in Review. Before we get started, do me that favor, click the like button, click that subscribe button, and click the bell because we have so many great live events happening on our AHTV YouTube channel during the rest of April that you don't want to miss anything, right? And we all know our memories aren't that great. So do that, let the computer work for you. But today is the week in review. So we're going to go over and talk about some of the posts we had up last week. I look forward to your thoughts and comments, contributions. Please write it in the chat. Be kind. Those comments stay up forever. All right, let's move on to our Monday. It was Medical Monday last week. Love a good Medical Monday. All right. This Medical Monday was focusing on a group of medications that have really transformed the treatment of heart failure, specifically, and high blood pressure medications. And you may have heard of these. These are called ACE inhibitors. And so these medications don't just lower blood pressure, they also protect your heart. They prevent further damage from happening, and they basically improve your overall chances of survival. So if you or a loved one had been prescribed an ACE inhibitor, here's what you need to know about this drug. So ACE inhibitor stands for, bear with me, I just play a doctor on TV. I'm going to try to pronounce all these words. Angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor. That's what it stands for. Okay, in layman's terms, it's a class of medications that helps the heart and the blood vessels work more efficiently. And they're commonly used for lowering blood pressure, right, which is otherwise known as hypertension. They treat heart failure and they prevent heart remodeling after a heart attack, and they protect the kidneys when you are a diabetic patient. So these medications actually work by blocking this enzyme that produces something called angiotensin 2. And the 2, if I remember, that's important because that's going to differentiate that between angiotensin 1. So we'll talk about some of these other medications that use that word angiotensin in this. So this was the first series of our prescriptions that we're really going through here. So specifically talking about blocking angiotensin 2, which is a hormone that causes blood vessels to actually tighten. Okay. And without angiotensin 2, the blood vessels relax and they widen, and that reduces the strain on the heart, and it actually improves blood flow. So here's some of the popular ACE inhibitors. If you want to know if you're taking an ACE inhibitor, look for the suffix pril. They are your prils. Topically, it's a pril. Lisinopril, enalapril, ramipril, okay, cadopril. Typically, I think a lot of us take lisinopril, or they have. So anything that's a pril is your angiotensin receptive blocker. Did I get all the words? No, angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor, or angiotensin, right, ACE. That's the 2, converting in, right. I said it right. I can't say it again, but I said it right the first time. So how do they actually work when it comes to heart failure? Well, heart failure really happens when your heart can't pump efficiently, and it leads to this fluid buildup and shortness of breath. So over time, the heart can actually enlarge and weaken due to the increased workload, a process that's known as cardiac remodeling. Okay. And here's how the ACE inhibitors work. So they reduce the strain on the heart, right? Lowers the blood pressure and decreases the heart's workload. And you do not need to have a cardiac issue or an issue with heart failure to be prescribed April, lisinopril, for instance, okay? Because it does so many other things that might be beneficial for you. Cardiac remodeling. So the ACE inhibitors prevent cardiac remodeling, and that slows or reverses the heart's structural changes. And by doing all of this, it can help improve survival because it helps heart failure patients actually live longer and feel better. And so for patients with heart failure, ACE inhibitors are really kind of essential in improving long-term outcomes. Possible side effects, because we know everything's got a side effect. The possible side effects of being on an ACE inhibitor, because all medications can have something, most of the side effects are going to be mild, but here's a few that you really want to be aware of. So if you are prescribed an ACE inhibitor and you're experiencing any of these, or you have questions about any of this, please reach out to your physician. I am not a physician, again, reach out to your physician. Don't ask people about it on Facebook. Keep a journal log and tell your physician, right? Some of them could be a dry cough. It is pretty common that you would have a tickly, dry type of cough. Very common side effect, not harmful, more annoying than anything else. Low blood pressure. And so high blood pressure is hypertension. With this drug, you could experience more low blood pressure, which is hypotension. Some people could feel dizzy, right? Or lightheaded, especially when standing up. So as with any medication that you begin in the aortic disease world, kind of take your time. If you're in a seated position, settle yourself in. If you go from lying to seated, kind of just sit for a moment and stand up and give yourself a moment to allow your circulation to kind of level out. Because remember, this is going to help lower your blood pressure, and that can make you feel a little woozy upon standing. High potassium levels. So, this is one of these drugs that you probably, if you have been taking a potassium supplement, you definitely want to make sure that your physician knows that you're doing that, because this can increase your potassium levels, which is called hyperkalemia. And this can be very dangerous if it goes unchecked. So, your doctor might start monitoring your potassium levels with blood tests while you're on these drugs. Angioedema, another word for swelling, a big fancy word for swelling. So this is pretty rare, but it is a serious allergic reaction because it can cause swelling of the face, of the lips, of the throat. And if this happens, you really want to seek medical attention right away, because you don't want it to cut off your airway. That's the worst case scenario of that. But here's a tip. If you're struggling to handle an ACE inhibitor, especially with that cough, right? Your doctor can switch you to something called an ARB, and that would stand for angiotensin 2 receptor blocker, not converting enzyme, receptor blocker. It works similarly, but not too many people really ever talk about that dry cough situation. Okay. So here's the key takeaways of the ACE inhibitor, okay, or the PRILs, right? That's what it is. It's more than just a blood pressure medication. It's much more than that. So it actually helps to protect the heart. So if you're somebody that's having that little bit of heart failure, your EF rate on your echo is, you know, not quite between that 60 and 65, and your doctor says we're having a little bit of heart failure, this is really good in protecting your heart, and it prevents worsening heart failure. Okay. And it helps people live longer. So if you've been prescribed an ACE inhibitor, it's important to take it as you've been directed to take it. Remember, medications that we take in this world are not like a Tylenol. They don't just take effect in 20 minutes. Some of these medications can take 2 hours to 4 hours before they actually hit their highest potency. So if you're willy-nilly about how you're taking these drugs, if it says to take it twice a day, you got to take it in the morning. You want to take it at nighttime. There are some of you out there that have alarms that say, I take it at 8 a.m., I take it at 8 p.m. That's great. Do whatever works for you and have that conversation with your doctor. For me, I take it when I wake up, and that could be 7:30, it could be 8:30, and I take it before bed. That could be 10, it could be 11, right? So I know that I'm not going 12 hours over nighttime, but that's okay. That's what works for me. So you need to find those specifics from your own physician on what's going to work best for you. And look, think about it like this. Your heart works hard for you, right? So let's take care of it. Just take care of it. So thanks for joining Samantha this week. Samantha took care of this blog for us, our medical student, and can't wait to see what they came up with on Topic Tuesday last week. So yeah, our ACE inhibitors. Who knew? That's your Medical Monday. All right, Josh, what do we got? What we got? Who's
Excellent
there?
work.
Thank
Let's
you.
say hi to Velda, Christina, and Dante. The suit man
Hi,
is here.
Velda, Christina, and Dante. Thanks for joining as I read big fancy words. I should read the next one in my British accent, but I'm not going to do it. I would make myself giggle too much. All right, we're moving on to Topic Tuesday. So, sticking with this theme, Psy is up for last week's Tuesday. We're going to talk about some additional cardiovascular medications. And this one's going to take us to diuretics, which is a very interesting one. A lot of women probably know about diuretics because it's the secret to losing like 3 to 5 pounds off the scale, because it's like basically a water pill. And we're going to talk about that now. So diuretics are basically known as water pills, and they help reduce your blood pressure by getting rid of that excess salt and water that's in your body by making urine more frequently. So you have to go to the bathroom more often. That's basically what it is. Let's take a look at it in action. Let me see if I can understand what's happening here. And I can't because these words are really big and I've never seen these words before. So I'm not a kidney person, but this is talking about how all these medications work in different places until they get to a collecting duct. So you're going to have to check it out because I do not understand what I'm looking at. I'm just going to be honest, call it like it is. Probably a really great graphic for somebody who understands, but let's just talk it through a little bit. Okay. All right. When blood flows through your kidneys, and this is an important thing, it will contain some salts, some water, and definitely waste. The kidneys are your primary filter, and they work by deciding whether or not to reabsorb some of the things before it's excreted into the urine. So this is accomplished through use of several different channels, allowing us to reabsorb things such as sodium, glucose, proteins, and water. So kidneys are a big deal. And a lot of us can be adversely affected um, in our kidneys if we've had a dissection because blood flow might be compromised. So if you had already prior issues with your kidneys, certain medications that are given to you, which we'll talk over the next couple of weeks, can also have an impact on your kidneys. So everything that we put in our mouth is filtered eventually through the kidneys. So just think about that. That's a lot of stuff. And diuretics really help with that filtering. So they basically block different channels in your kidneys that would be reabsorbing that salt and water, because sometimes reabsorbing that can increase your blood pressure. So by blocking the reabsorber, these channels will remain in your urine instead of returning to the kidney. I mean, sorry, instead of returning to your blood and will become removed once you go to the bathroom. And that's the key. We don't want to reabsorb it and have it go back through again. We want to get it out. And there's several different types of diuretics, and that's really very important to mention as well. And they each have this different unique function. They have a different effect and they have different potential side effects. So this is going to be so much fun to pronounce. Stick with me. Thiazide diuretics. For example, hydrochlorothiazide. I like the way that one sounds. And chlorthalidone. Sounds good. We'll just call it that. So these thiazide diuretics, they tend to block sodium and chloride. Co-transporter causing increased salt and water that could stay in the urine. So it's going to block that so that it does not stay in the urine, so that it comes out. And many uses in patients with hypertension. So if you have hypertension, you might be prescribed these thiazide diuretics because it allows a moderate reduction in body volume. It also can be helpful in patients with recurrent kidney stones, because they can increase the reabsorption of calcium from the urine back into the body. So less calcium in the urine means a lower risk of them turning into kidney stones. Okay. Here's another great picture that I don't know what I'm really looking at because I don't understand kidneys. But this is, I can't, K I remember is potassium. Na is sodium. Cl, I can't believe I remember this stuff. You're talking way back in the day, right? This is what, the periodic table stuff? I used to have it all memorized, not anymore. All right, let's go to the second type of diuretic because this is interesting because we're all on different types, those of us that take it. And I've been on these before as well. These are loop diuretics. More common name might be furosemide or Lasix is the non-generic term, right? Or it is the generic term. Bumetanide, if I pronounced that right, sounds good. They block a large sodium potassium chloride channel, causing massive loss of salt and water from the urine. Okay, more powerful than the one we talked about before, the thiazide diuretics, and it can cause a very significant reduction in volume from the body. Now, somebody who's taken this before, I can tell you when it kicks in and you go to the bathroom with that incredible amount of volume, it will whoop that blood pressure right down, and it can leave you feeling a little loopy and a little dizzy afterwards, which I'm sure we're going to talk about side effects in a minute. But this is primarily used to treat volume overload. And we're talking about urine, right? Volume overload in patients presenting with severe heart failure. And it can also be used after major cardiac surgery and in severe hypertension. So that's at higher blood pressure cases. Okay. The third type is something called potassium sparing diuretic, and that might be triamterene, amiloride. And so these are important because when we are talking about a diuretic, we can tend to lose potassium. It comes out with the sodium, with the chloride. Some of these really, and especially the last one we talked about, the loop diuretic, can come out in large volume. These are unique because these reduce salt and water in the body, but they do not cause a drop in potassium. And potassium is a very important element to have in our body. So this is different because it's not going to get rid of that potassium like the other diuretics do. And they work by interfering with potassium channels in the latter part of the kidney and antagonizing the efforts of aldosterone, which causes increased potassium removal from the body. Okay. At the end of the day, it just you don't lose a lot of potassium when you're on these potassium sparing diuretics, but they are used for people that have high blood pressure or heart failure. So, okay, pictures, stuff, still not 100% sure. All right, so those were the kinds we were talking about. Again, we talked about loop diuretics, we talked about thiazide, and now we just talked about potassium sparing. Again, um, if you're going to be prescribed a diuretic, it is very important that you share with your physician everything you're taking, especially the minerals, like if you're taking potassium, because if you're on a potassium sparing, we don't want to build up too much potassium, right? And if you're not taking potassium and you're on one of the diuretics that dumps large volumes of it out, they're going to maybe want to do a blood check, a test to see how your potassium levels are. So again, unfortunately, it was not mentioned here, information about potential side effects, but first of all, do not take it when you have something to do and you can't easily access a bathroom. It's bad, right? It's a bad choice. I went to go see my cardiologist today and I took a water pill this morning because my rings were getting really tight and I just feel puffy and I just wanted to feel lighter. So I took it this morning and I must have gone to the bathroom 6 or 7 times while I was in her office just in that 1 hour. I tend to, when it hits its peak, I go about every 10 minutes. So driving in the car, I had to get off of the Beltway twice to go to the bathroom before even getting to the office. And I will tell you, one of the other side effects that I do like is it feels good. You know that everything is being flushed literally out of your body. And there's just something about the effect of that coming out that does feel good, but it does leave me a little wonky in my head because my blood pressure pills hit at the same time. So after running through the office, I sat right down. They didn't have me wait and they took my blood pressure and it was 124/62, which had since plummeted by the time I was time to leave. And I felt like jello. So I know my blood pressure is low and I know I could eat a snack that had salt to help it bring it back up a little bit. But that is the only side effect that I think does bother me is if everything hits at the same time, it can be very dizzying and make you feel a little tired and just a little out of it, if that makes sense. Share all of that with your physician if you're experiencing any of that, and then you might want to fix when you take it. I would not take a diuretic like after 2 in the afternoon, and definitely don't take it at night unless you want to be up all night, because you will be up all night. It's it's just flush. Just think it's going to flush. So you got to be near a bathroom and you don't want to be up all night. That's all I can say about that. But that's your topic Tuesday, all about diuretics. All right. Anybody? Anything? Don't you have comments about diuretics? I know
No, just
I got on the scale when I got to the doctor and I said, "You wait, by the end of this appointment, I'll be 3 pounds lighter." That's what I told her. And now my rings are spinning. Literally, I just took it today and my rings are spinning on my fingers. See, I'm ready for the beach now. I just thought that. I lost that extra water weight. But it is an interesting topic. So you can find out all this information, by the way. If you go to the resources tab on our website and you scroll down, there is a whole presentation by Dr. Kristen Watson, who was with the University of Maryland, about medications. And it is presented in a very easy to understand way. Each of the categories, the medications that are typically prescribed for aortic disease patients, side effects, interactions, etc. So definitely check that out. You also can check it out in our patient guide. There's a whole section back there, and in our new patient guide will be information about medications as well. Okay, that's our topic Tuesday.
When's the next time our doctor of pharmacology is going to be on with us?
I just got to give her a call. I haven't scheduled her yet, but I shall. I shall do that. Working my
we
way.
talked about September. I feel like
we may
did.
have.
I think we did.
Yeah. I usually try to do a blitz in September and get one in every category, because everybody's supercharged with it being AD month. All right. Hey, this is such exciting news when I'm about to share that we're part of that started on April 1st. This is Artivion's step challenge called Walk to Give, Live to Thrive. I always want to say live to thrive. I don't know why I want to say that, but it's not. Walk to Give, Live to Thrive. But Aortic Hope is so honored. We were actually chosen as the 2025 recipient of Artivion's Walk to Give, Live to Thrive Step Challenge. And this is happening in April, first 2 weeks with all of their employees, and there's a lot of them, to get their steps in. Their goal is 8,000. I can't remember. I would assume that that's daily. They're really challenging them to do this. And a little bit about Artivion. So they are a pioneering medical device company that's really dedicated to developing and distributing life-saving solutions for cardiac and vascular surgeries, including all of us, with a strong focus on aortic diseases. So they have valves, they have grafts, and that's what they're really well known for. There's actually an article, I think we had it out last week, we talked about it, that had to do with when you need to have your ascending replaced, how they are now going through the trial where they will replace it with the graft, but insert that stent through the arch a little bit down into the descent. And we talked about that last week. So Artivion's making some great strides out there, but their innovative products, which includes, as we just discussed, aortic stent grafts, surgical sealants, mechanical heart valves, and cryopreserved cardiac and vascular tissues, are really essential to many people in the aortic community, some of whom have an Artivion graft in their bodies right now or a mechanical valve from Artivion today. So we really appreciate Artivion's commitment to making movement a priority in health, as we have that Movement for Movement initiative as well. And we're really super excited to join them on this mission. After all, as we've said, 2025 is the year to thrive and not just survive. So heartfelt thanks to everyone at Artivion. We sent you over a cheerleading type of an email or a video in which I told everybody I was about to get my steps on to the ice cream shop where I was shopping for the day. But it still counted. It was still steps to go where I was into there to get a scoop of ice cream. But again, in all seriousness, thank you everyone with Artivion. We do appreciate that. And we're very excited to have partnered with you on your Walk to Give and Live to Thrive initiative. So that is that. All right, moving and grooving, shaking things up. Still saying hi to everybody who joined us. They're all quiet today. It is gloomy. It's a gloomy day. It's a gloomy, gloomy gust day out. All right. April, Global Volunteer Month. Global Volunteer Month. So just going to start off with a gigantic thank you to everyone who is volunteering with Aortic Hope for the aortic community. Okay. We want to shine a spotlight on the incredible work of all of our volunteers, and honestly, volunteers everywhere for any organization, for any reason. When you volunteer, you are really giving a part of yourself back to a community. We recognize that volunteers are truly the backbone of this organization. That's what we're about. It's how we were formed. It's the volunteers are really driving our mission forward through their selfless efforts. 100%. These volunteers that are with us come from very diverse backgrounds, but they share a common passion for making a difference in the lives of others. And everyone does it differently. And the interesting thing about being a volunteer is you don't need to have a formal title to help volunteer with Aortic Hope. Click like, you guys. Click share. Put it on your page. Help others find us, right? Not everybody's on Facebook, you guys. Believe it or not, they're not all on Facebook. but they have access probably to the internet and they can find us on the website. So post something, share something, the word will spread. It's like a spider web, but you got to at least make that effort. And doing that is huge, huge, little effort and huge. Throughout the year, our volunteers engage in activities such as raising awareness. That's a key pillar for us. And volunteers spread awareness about aortic disease, its risks, and the importance for early detection. Supporting patients and families is another one, another pillar for us, right? It's right in our mission statement. Volunteers provide emotional support, guidance, and resources like our patient guides, right, to individuals and families affected by aortic disease. They do this also through fundraising and hosting various events. Volunteers organize and they participate in funding events to support Aortic Hope's programs and initiatives and services. They also provide education and advocacy. Volunteers help to educate the public and healthcare professionals about aortic disease, promoting awareness, offering resources and support. So we want to honor the volunteers of Aortic Hope this month. We want to express our deepest gratitude to our volunteers for their tireless effort, your dedication, your compassion, your commitment to the aortic disease community is truly inspiring. We recognize that volunteering is a selfless act, and we really appreciate the time and effort and passion that each of you bring to Aortic Hope's mission. So if you want to get involved and make a difference, if you're inspired by the work of Aortic Hope and their volunteers, consider getting involved by volunteering. You can join our team, click that link on this post, and sign up to be a Hope Ambassador and let us know what your skill set is, and you can volunteer that time and those skill sets to helping build the community. You can donate. You can support our programs, our initiatives by making a donation using that link, and you can spread awareness. And you can share information about aortic disease and Aortic Hope's AHTV YouTube channel on social media with your friends and your family. And together, we can make a difference in the lives of those affected by aortic disease. So thank you, Aortic Hope volunteers, for your remarkable service. And this is just the beginning of our month in April of thanking all of our volunteers. There's that. There is that. I don't know why everybody has on this very interesting pointer ring and middle finger ring and pointer ring. I just noticed that on this graphic. That's very cool. All right, we're moving on. Hey, we had our first Friday fundraiser started last week. It's really just a notification to let you know that something's about to happen in 3 days. 20% off everything in our spread shop, you guys. And you don't have to do anything but click what you want and click a redeem button. There's no code. There's no code. This begins April 10th and runs through the 17th. But for the whole month of April, there's various different sales going on. So I'm just bringing up the 20%, but you might click on there on the 18th and see that there's free shipping. The wide variety of things happening during the month of April. It's a great time to start thinking about birthday gifts, Mother's Day gifts, Father's Day gifts, medical professional thank you gifts, appreciation gifts, and more. So don't delay. Grab some swag today. And again, starting April 10th through the 17th in our Hope Shop, extra 20% off. Just click that redeem button that's at the tippy top and it'll apply to everything that's in your cart. So hop into spring with some swag. It's First Friday fundraiser. I should have had some water because I'm getting a little parched, you guys, getting a little parched. All right. First National Volunteer of the Month actual post and recognition. We decided to honor, well, as I told you, we're honoring all volunteers all month long and anyone who helps to make the organization work and serve this incredible community. So first up is the board of Aortic Hope. Okay, that includes myself, obviously president, co-founder, kind of director of PR and AHTV and your voice here. It also includes Bill Barnhart, one of the original members of Aortic Hope. He is a director of community relations, specifically in the connective tissue disorder area. He is a Marfan patient and also a caregiver. He also is a moderator of one of the caregiver support group meetings. Jenny Schaefer, she is the director of partnership development, and she is behind the scenes making these books happen for you guys. She's working super, super hard and has been nonstop since she joined our board. Terry Cook, Vice President, Director of Fundraising. Not only does she have a full-time day job during like basically tax season working for financial advisors, but she's up all night busy preparing our baskets for our fundraising events, scheduling fundraising events, appearing at fundraising events, and now she's speaking at these events. So I'm giving her the mic. I'm giving her the mic, and she's doing a great job. Tammy Warner, Secretary and Director of Community Relations. So Tammy is out there packaging up all of your Hope Mail, writes all of those handwritten cards to all of you that receive Hope Mail. So she's doing an amazing job as well. Nicole Blackburn, she is our treasurer. She is a CPA that is handling, making sure everything's right on our books, and she does an amazing job doing that behind the scenes, completing contracts, completing all of our IRS forms, and our annual reports and all the stuff that makes my head explode. She does it with ease. And then that brings us to Deb Jolly Wacharlik. I don't even know if I ever pronounced your last name correctly, Deb. If I haven't, I truly apologize. I'm just going to go with what Josh says, which is Deb Jolly Workaholic. She is the Director of Volunteer Services. She's been with us so long, and she is in charge of going through all of the Hope Ambassador applications and talks to all of you guys as well. She handles distributing our patient awareness posters and making sure those go out to all of the doctor's offices so that people in the community can download a copy of our book or join our support groups or find us on YouTube. So thank you again, everyone that's with Aortic Hope. And I'm so excited to go through the rest of this month, thanking people and letting other people in this organization have that spotlight. It's so important. But to all of you watching, just when you watch, do you realize that that's kind of a form of volunteering? You're taking your time out. It's changing algorithms. It's allowing more visibility. So thank you for giving some of your time towards allowing us to help many other people. Okay. National Volunteer Month. All right, let's talk about some events. Events. Oh, what just happened? What just happened, you guys? I don't know what just happened. Did I just lose everything? Am I back online?
Well, you
Nope.
never left, although your
Oh,
screen went black there for a quick
so
second.
weird.
What did you
I
click?
didn't. I just didn't do anything.
You have to refresh this page, though.
I do? Okay. Oh, you fixed something? Oh,
No,
yes,
you
I do.
fixed
I fixed
something.
it. I did. Well, that was so weird. Like, there's no thunderstorm. Gremlins.
Yeah,
Gremlins,
no,
I swear.
no drops on my side. But yeah.
Okay. First Monday of the month when we have our Spanish support group meeting. And we also have a caregiver support group meeting tonight at 10 p.m. Tomorrow is our another support group meeting, general, open to anybody. That's at 10 p.m. These times, I tell you, are Eastern Standard Time. On Thursdays, we have our Therapeutic Thursday. Coming up this week on the 10th, we have a special guest. It is our own Rob Seltzer. Rob Seltzer, if you don't know, is our aortic chef in our aortic kitchen. He also moderates our support group meeting, our last one of every month in the evening. And he is going to be talking about his emotional and mental health journey with aortic disease. He has had multiple surgeries. So I'm really excited to listen to what he's been experiencing. So this is why you click the bell, so you'll know that this event is happening this Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern. And then every Sunday we have Qigong. That happens every Sunday at 12:30. If you start to follow Kevin, you're going to see, I just saw a video the other day. I guess it was Judy was in the cold creek waters barefoot doing some Tai Chi and some stretching. It was like I could feel that I was there in the middle of the woods. Of course, I did think, I hope a snake doesn't come up in the creek because that's where my mind is. But he was out there and I forget what he ate. He was talking about this leaf, this plant that was very edible, and he just grabbed it and he ate it. And you know what I think? What if something went to the bathroom on that leaf? This is where my mind goes. I don't think freshness of the forest. I think bugs, mosquitoes, and animal excrement on the leaf. But he popped that leaf right in his mouth and he ate it. More power to him. I'd be out there in a beekeeper suit making sure no bugs got me because that's how like Meshuggah I am. All right. Our next live event. It's important because this is we have some really cool events. We are speaking with Dr. Pedro Catarino from Cedars-Sinai on the 15th at 7 p.m. He is going to really take us through everything that has to do with aortic valves, aortic valve disease, congenital heart or congenital aortic valve issues, all of the different treatment options, the ways we diagnose, the recovery, etc. So if you've ever had a question you wanted to ask about aortic valve disease, this is a great night to do it. But at the end of the day, if you have any kind of question about anything aortic disease related, you can ask that question then as well. Following up on Wednesday, the 16th, we are going to do some art, finger painting. Finger painting, Q-tips. We're doing some art with the aortic artist. And then it's National Garlic Month. It pains my soul, but Chef Rob and his wife Mindy will be cooking with like 15 cloves of garlic on the 17th. I feel like if I tune in, I'll be able to smell it. It is what it is. I'm sure their house will smell divine. I just have a little allergy to garlic. All right. And then we've got cross your fingers, I'm getting it solidified now, a live event with Dr. Kyle Udaly from University of Alabama in Birmingham on the 21st. And then Aortic Hope, pairing with Aortic Athletes, will be interviewing community member Amber Williams. Some of you know her, but it'll be really interesting to hear her story. She has had a follow-up surgery as well, post, I believe it was a dissection, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I know she's had more than one surgery. So she is on the 22nd. And then we have Molly will be bringing you the weekend review on the 28th. And then we have, it's the last Monday of the month on the 28th. So we will have our Women Inspiring Support and Empowerment with Aortic Disease, our women's only group. And let me tell you something. You cannot come to the group if you're somebody who gets easily embarrassed, because we are being women and we are just being honest, and no topic is off limits. And it's so refreshing to just be able to just talk. But a lot of us, we talk like this because we're whispering. But it's fun. There's a lot of laughter in this group between women, and I am looking to solidify a GYN that understands aortic disease that will be joining us for the conversation. So hopefully that happens at the end of this month. If not, it is a guarantee for next month. And then our last live event, it's so important, this one, with Amy Klump. She is a DPT, so Doctor of Physical Therapy. And what we're really focusing on is the alternative of cardiac rehab. See, it's pretty common that people in this community will not be assigned cardiac rehab if there was no work done on the valve. Sometimes we can squeak out getting insurance to cover it if your valve was resuspended, but it's still challenging. But a lot of times people are not allowed the opportunity to have cardiac rehab. So physical therapy is a beautiful, phenomenal, alternative. That's the word, alternative. But I kind of look at it as if it's a great way to blend. You can blend it with cardiac rehab. They're different. They are different, different ways of reporting information, different ways of working with a patient. It's very much more one-on-one. Cardiac rehab is a small group setting. Physical therapy, one-on-one. Physical therapy, you might just go in there to learn how to breathe. Diaphragmic breathing, building confidence in breathing, building confidence in posture and sitting, right? These are things we take for granted, but when you've had your sternum cut open, you will be humbled very quickly. And so to have somebody work with you on that, to help you build that confidence and learn those basic, almost occupational skills and redoing things again, and still walking on a treadmill or riding a bike and making sure those perceived rate of exertion, your PREs, are low, and appropriate against the work that you're doing. They report your blood pressure before, during, and after. So a lot of the stuff, they overlap, but there's a lot of different things that you can experience in PT versus cardiac rehab. And one is not necessarily better than the other. I think they blend together, but it's great to learn about this, especially for those of you that will not be afforded the opportunity for cardiac rehab. So that is what we have coming up in the month of April, but right now, we need to give some time and attention to our sponsor of this week's Weekend Review, and that's Rock from the Heart. Yeah, the crowd goes wild. They're getting ready for their second and last event of 2025, and that is happening in, what is it? Fargo? No, Moorhead. Fargo? Moorhead? The same place, right? Minnesota.
It's right
No,
there.
North Dakota.
North
North
Dakota,
Dakota.
Fargo, North
Thank you.
Dakota.
They're like kind of like step over here, you're in Minnesota, step over here, you're in North Carolina. So it is May 2nd. There is still time for you to register. If you want to come in person, you can always register to do it virtually. And that is their aortic ed session. So that happens on a Friday from 1 to 6 p.m., followed by a reception and a dinner. And it is wonderful. It is just wonderful. You really are going to listen to a phenomenal lineup of speakers, including Amy Johnson herself, one of the founders of Rock from the Heart. And then you turn around and the next day and you've got this great concert opportunity. It is being led by Sebastian Bach. Aortic Fire is the opening act. That is Pete Johnson, the drummer of Aortic Fire, his band. And they're going to open. And then out comes Sebastian Bach. And he's so in it. He's so into this with everybody that he makes it even more fun. And there's also a VIP event that you can purchase tickets for that as well. So there's still time. Register, get tickets. If you've never been to a Rock from the Heart event, you need to consider going to them. Okay. And May is a great time of year to head to North Dakota. It's not like going to Minnesota in February, which was actually fine this year. It was great. The weather was actually really nice. I don't think I walked around with a jacket on one day. But it's not about that. It's about the education you're going to receive. It's about meeting other community members. It really is a lot of fun. I think you're going to have a great time. So thank you to Rock from the Heart for sponsoring this week's Week in Review. It's quiet out there today, huh?
It is a bit quiet. Although Dante says he wants to do a cook-off with Rob.
I think you guys should. I think you should do a cook, but how are we going to determine who wins?
That's a very, very good question.
Right? But it would still be fun to watch. I would really like that. I would enjoy that. All right. Well, that's what we have for this week. So again, if I haven't stressed it enough, do me a favor, click like, click subscribe so you don't lose track of when these other live events happen, and share. Share this because I guarantee you somebody will get something out of it. It'll be very meaningful and it helps others find us and allows us to help other people with their support and recovery during their management of aortic disease. So same time, I'll be back for Week in Review next week. And hopefully you guys will come back and bring your friends so we can chat a little bit. All right, everybody. Thank you again so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.